Hello everybody, and welcome to the Welcome to UpIsNotJump's Patreon podcast, which you can see if you've paid me $1. So, what I'm going to do in today's episode is introduce things by talking about a few little topics with you that relate to Fallout, YouTube, and then your questions. The best thing about doing this podcast is that because I don't have to shout and scream as I do in my videos, I can talk in a normal voice and have soundproof in a room, so we actually get some nice audio quality with my microphone instead of me going ah for 4 or 5 minutes, which then breaks the rest of the audio when I try and limit and normalize it, which is good. So here we go. I hope you're all well. There's no video for this, so the sort of thing I'd like you to do is to maybe, well, I actually go to sleep when I listen to a podcast because I can't sleep without listening to noise, because apparently there's something wrong with me. But I sleep with my headphones in every night, so you could do that if you're fucking weird like me, or you could listen to it at work. You know, actually be productive in your office job. You know, when it rolls around 2 o'clock and you've just had lunch and you're like, I can't sit here for another 3 hours. Maybe I could consider jumping off of the rails in the hall and into the middle of the stairwell. I mean, I never did that. That never happened. I never thought about doing that every single day for 3 years. Sorry, getting very heavy. The first topic I'd like to talk about is Fallout 76. The day I considered jumping off of my stairwell in my office, I actually quit the next day, so don't worry, it didn't go on for long. So I don't really know a lot about Fallout 76. I don't know a lot about Fallout really as a franchise. I mean, as a YouTuber, I've steered clear of Fallout, and as a gamer, really, it's not really my cup of tea. No, that's all absolute garbage. I really like Fallout. And I've been watching a lot of the Fallout 76 stuff. I've seen Mr. Matty Plays do an hour of it, because, little known fact, I was invited to West Virginia by Bethesda to join the British YouTubers. I think they took over Americans and British people at a different time, or maybe European and American and Canadian and all that sort of stuff, you know, depending on whereabouts you are, at different times. And that means that I'd have gone with people like Many a True Nerd, who is a YouTuber who I think a lot of you know. He does Let's Plays of a lot of Fallout games and other sort of stuff. But what happened was, and I've mentioned this on my Twitter, but for people who don't know, John from Many a True Nerd, who lives up the road from me, he went to West Virginia and was like, oh, it's interesting that you didn't invite Matt or UpIsNotJump. And they were like, oh no, we did. And I don't think he was being arsy, he was just talking to them about it because he spent so much time with them. And they were like, oh no, we did invite Matt. And I thought, oh, no, well, he thought, oh, well, Matt said that he wasn't invited. And they were like, no, we invited him. So then he told me this, and I checked all my emails and I had nothing. And I hadn't heard from them in a couple of months, and usually they email me every sort of 3 or 4 weeks about press releases and games that are coming out. It's just like, it's a shared email between inviting you to things, but also giving you information about upcoming games. And that had stopped. And so I got in touch with them and was like, oh, well, I've stopped receiving these emails. And they were like, what? And they checked their mailing list, and I wasn't on it anymore, and they had been emailing the group from the UK that they wanted to bring to Fallout 76 in West Virginia, and just assumed that I was on the list, because they had no reason not to think so, because I had been on it before, but I wasn't on it, so I didn't get any of the emails. I imagine they sent me 2 or 3. And so I didn't get an all-expensive paid trip to West Virginia, which would have been really fucking sweet. But never mind, I was busy editing my Steam video, so, you know, it all works out for the best. Fucking garbage. But maybe I'll go there for Elder Scrolls if anything ever happens for that. I'm just going to have a little sip of water, excuse me. But I watched Mr. Matty play it, and what struck me about it, it's really interesting, this I think, is that Fallout 4's strengths in a technical standpoint were its combat and its graphics engine under the right lighting. Sorry. But the lighting, and like generally in Fallout 4 is quite bad in a lot of areas. I've spent, you know, 3,000 or 4,000 hours playing the game just for the machinima, and it's very hard to get the lighting to look good. Like, if you watch my machinimas, a lot of them are very carefully lit, and I think the graphics look really nice in my videos, and I put a lot of effort into that. But generally, just looking at the game in random spots, the lighting is really bad. There's a lot of like particle effects that I haven't sorted out. But when it is right, I think the game is really, really beautiful. And another problem with the visuals of it is, like, Skyrim is beautiful because it's filled with, like, trees and nice buildings and nice textures, whereas Fallout 4 is designed to not look nice. And so it's a really difficult thing to make a game in that style and make it look good. But when you add loads of grass and trees and good lighting, Fallout 4, and, you know, with mods, which you can do, Fallout 4 looks fucking great. And they've addressed that. So they've fixed all of these issues by the looks of it in the gameplay, and it looks like a really, really pretty game. What they've also done is focus on a combat game. You know, Fallout 76, I think, is going to be combat, multiplayer, online shooting combat. Which is also Fallout 4's strength, because the combat is fantastic. It's fantastic for a for a non-story game. For a first-person shooter, Fallout 4's combat is perfect. It is really well designed, it's fully customizable. But I think for a story-based game, it's too good. I've been playing a lot of Fallout 3 recently, and the combat in that is janky as fuck, but I think it kind of adds to the style of the game. The way you walk through the game, you know, killing a room full of people in Fallout 3 on hard is actually really difficult because it's so fucking janky. Everything's hard to aim. You have to kind of plan what you're going to do. In Fallout 4, I just walked in and shot everyone because it was easy to do that. You just go bang, 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 and you hit all your targets and everything works out really fine. And I think for a story-based game, you have to pace yourself quite slowly, because if you're just getting all the story at once because you're shooting your way through and killing everyone, it doesn't actually work. And I think that was Fallout 4's biggest problem, was its combat, weirdly enough, because it was so polished. And this is just my opinion, you do not have to agree with this, I know it's very strange, but that's my view. So what they've done is, instead of focusing on story, they focused on multiplayer online shooting with better graphics, fixing all the graphic engine stuff, because they fixed all the lighting and added more grass and trees. So really, I think it looks pretty, like, it's a shame that they've gone that way instead of the story way, which is where I would rather have them gone. But you can kind of see what they're playing on the strengths that they have at the beginning. I don't like multiplayer games, I don't like online games, I don't like shooter games very much, you know, pure shooting. And I think that's what it's going to be. So personally, if you marketed the game to me and said, oh, we're making this game, I'd be like, oh, well, I'm not going to buy that. And that's fair enough. But what's happening is, because all your opinions you're getting are from YouTubers who are like, I wouldn't normally buy this game, but I've played it and I think this. So, is their opinion really that relevant? Is my opinion really that relevant? You know, like, it's a very interesting thing to think, like, the people who are playing Fallout 76 are Fallout fans. And Fallout 76, by the sounds of it, is very different to the Fallout games. So, it just seems, it's just a strange balance, you know, you're hearing all these reviews from people that feel the similar way to me, you know, oh, multiplayer's not really my thing, I like a bit more, you know, less combat, more story, and that's what they're all playing. So I'm going to review the game, but my opinion on it is fucking worthless. I can talk about whether or not it works in a mechanic sense. Does the combat work well? Is the multiplayer balanced? But other than that, you know, what am I going to talk about? Oh, the story shit. You know, I feel like I'm going to feel that way because I think there's been less focus on story than in 4. I could be wrong. You know, but that's the opinion I get from watching Let's Plays of it. So yeah, you know, it's just something I thought that was very interesting. So I'm going to review it, try and make comedy and not go into too much detail about it as a review because I don't feel like my opinion is really that relevant. It's a funny thing. But there you go. I'll be able to tell if it's good or bad, but in an objective way, not based on how I feel about story-based games. There you go. So that's my opinion on that. Oh yeah, they've also focused a lot more on base building, which I also have no interest in. I think that... I mean, I like tower defense games. So, you know, the idea is if you're going to get attacked by players and you build like a tower with lots of guns and stuff, that could probably be really fun. But I think with an online game, it's really difficult to balance this sort of thing. But we'll see. That's a bit of it that I could be fairly interested in, you know, building a little base and defending it. But honestly, you're better off doing that in a one-player setting, or, you know, 1-on-3, and it's like they'll be here in a few minutes and you have to gather the resources and build everything up. You know, it's a small map and the goal is to capture something. When it's not planned, you could be sitting around waiting all day to be attacked and no one does it, if you see what I mean. It's a lot harder to control that sort of style of gameplay where you're going to build a tower and defend it if no one's ever going to turn up, or people turn up when you're not expecting it. you just get shot. So you don't actually get to defend it because you weren't even paying attention. So there's all that sort of stuff. I don't know. It's a funny old world. All these YouTubers are making a lot of money off of Fallout 76 though, which is interesting. It's not a bad thing. I think it's a nice thing. It's people who do Let's Plays seem to do... I think there's a very large online community for Bethesda games. You make a video about Fallout 4 back in the day, it usually got quite a lot of views because I think there's just this online community where people want to learn more about it. And I guess it's because it's such a big game, you can't really see everything. So you go online and you Google things and you watch videos about it. So those videos are perfect for making YouTube videos. Sorry, just having a little drink. And then what happens is people stop Googling Fallout 4 and Fallout games, and the hubbub dies down, and then the YouTubers continue to make Fallout 4 videos. And this happened to me very much. I was making my Fallout 4 machinima and they were doing really well, but they became harder to market as people became less interested in Fallout 4. And so I then eventually changed what I was doing. It took a long time for me to pull myself away from it, because you get into like a habit of making these sorts of videos. And this is just, what I'm talking about here is when I spend a lot of time on Twitter, and I have no one, I just wanted to talk a bit about YouTube, that's what I'm talking about in a minute. I was on Twitter and I see a lot of people, and not necessarily Fallout YouTubers, there's a lot of different YouTubers that do Let's Plays, complaining about dwindling views, if you will. And I'm trying to think about, this isn't this isn't aimed at anyone in particular, and I'm not getting at anyone in particular for feeling this way. I think it's perfectly legitimate. A lot of people are worrying about their Let's Play channels, big and small. It's happening to Game Grumps and it's happening to smaller Let's Players. That they're just getting less and less views, even if they're working harder and making more videos and putting out more Let's Plays and stuff. And I just wanted to give my thoughts on why this might be. I'm not suggesting anyone listen to me and take these seriously and do what I'm saying, but this is just what I think about this sort of thing, because a lot of people are complaining about less views. What am I going to do? I work harder, but YouTube doesn't promote my videos more. And it's just something I think a lot about Let's Plays. And they were popularized by PewDiePie. And he made lots, and they did really, really well. I mean, he made himself an international superstar. And it became huge, and people wanted more and more, and people wanted more Let's Plays. So entire companies were founded. Game Grumps, you know, huge multi-million-dollar companies were founded off the back of what PewDiePie did. I don't think he started Let's Plays, but he definitely made them popular. And then now what I think is happening is it's like Pokemon cards or Pogs on a really or yo-yos on a much larger scale. You know, everyone was excited about them, and this is a new entertainment form, effectively. This is new, this is exciting, let's watch lots of videos on this, let's get as much of this as we can. And I really liked it as well. I watched loads and I love them. And I still do watch them. I think Let's Plays are still great. But I'm definitely less interested. And I think a lot of people might feel that way. Especially with the number of people who do Let's Plays. You know, it's fucking millions of people are uploading Let's Plays every day to YouTube. So there's only so many views that can go around. Everyone's doing a very similar thing. And there are only so many views to go around. So when people are saying, you know, I'm making more videos about Let's Plays, well, so is everyone else. You know, and I'm uploading more videos, and I think so is everyone else. And the audiences, I think, are getting less interested. As a whole, I'm sure more people are getting more interested and more into it, but I think, as a whole, I have no evidence to back this up. This is just what I think to explain, because I just see it everywhere, everyone talking about their Let's Play channels getting less and less views, and I just think, you know, I'm trying to think of ways around it in case anyone ever wants my opinions or anything like that. And I think that's it, really. That's kind of what I wanted to say. It's just the same format. And another thing that I think is, say you make a really, really good Let's Play, but you're a channel that makes 12 Let's Plays a week or 6 Let's Plays a week. some of your viewers might not see that Let's Play because it's mixed in with so many others that, you know, may not be as good as your other ones or whatever. So let's say you've made this amazing, hilarious, really funny Let's Play, and you want everyone to see it, and, you know, it deserves to get into YouTube's spotlight, you know, into the mix where everyone's going to see it. Well, if you make 6 videos that week or 12 videos that week, not every one of your subscribers is going to see that one because they're going to watch a mix that week. They might not watch them all. You know, when I watch Game Grumps, I do not watch every video they make. I pick ones that look interesting. I could miss absolutely hilarious episodes and I wouldn't even know. Whereas I think if you were to make a video once a week that was, you know, your best effort, all your subscribers would watch it because it'd be like, oh, this is all we've got. But if it was an amazing one, they'd all see it and they'd share it and it would do better. You know, YouTube very carefully watches all of this stuff, and if a video gets a lot of views and a lot of likes and everyone watches it all the way through, they tend to promote it internally a lot more. And so that's how you grow. You know, you get more than just your subscribers watching it, and the way to do that is either with clickbait or by making quality. But this is just what I think. This is just something that I've been thinking about quite a lot recently. People are still making a living off of Let's Plays, and I think they will continue to do for a very, very long time. I'm just not surprised that people are doing less well with the medium, because it was such an explosion of interest, and then everyone got used to it. It's like, oh, I've seen Let's Plays, they're all good. You know, I watch Game Grumps, I watch Yahtzee's Let's Plays, I watch Oni Plays, and all this sort of stuff. But how many can you watch? You know, you can't keep discovering new Let's Plays channels. You've only got so much time that you could spend on the internet, I don't know. So that's what I think. That's my view on Let's Plays. And I keep pausing because I'm just thinking, I've been talking about this for a long time, just sort of randomly, and I had no reason to bring it up. It's just something I've been thinking about. So what I want to do as well, while I've got your attention, is I thought I could answer a few questions from my patrons. Each week you can leave me leave me questions anywhere. The best way to leave them for me is underneath this video where I've posted it on Patreon. If you leave the comments there, then I can answer the rest. I don't think I'll get through all the comments that I've got here because I ramble like a motherfucker, as you've probably noticed. Any I don't get through, I'm going through them in order I receive them. So if you sent me some last week and I don't do them this week, it's likely I'll do them next time. And just so I should have said this at the beginning, this is going to be half an hour long, which you can probably see from the length, and it's just going to be talking about things in gaming that I've been thinking about in the week, as well as answering questions. So the first question we've got, and now it's my time to get everyone's names wrong. This is exciting. I have Hugh, Let, or it could be an Illet, because you know capital I's and L's look the same. But I'm going to go with Hugh Let Woolmer. Not Wilma from the Flintstones, Woolmer. And he says, what does an average week look like? It's 7 days, Monday to Sunday. And the next question, no, I'm joking. It says, you mention on Twitter a lot how long it takes to edit and do all the live action plots for your videos. Sorry, you mention on Twitter a lot. You mention on Twitter a lot how long it takes to edit and do all of the live action parts for your videos, which are amazing, by the way. Thank you. And how much time is spent teaching while you still make your content? So I've mentioned this lots and lots of times, but because of the way social media is, you don't get to see, not everyone sees a single post by me. But I don't teach anymore. I quit my job because of YouTube taking up all my time. Because it's something I wanted to do full time anyway. I don't really like teaching. It's very fulfilling, it makes you feel good, but it is a fucking pain in the ass, you know, planning all the lessons and giving them and going into the houses of the students. I used to teach in people's houses. I didn't do it at school because they would have eaten me alive. And ever since I finished school, I swore to myself I will never go back there. And when I have children, I am going to stand at the gate and watch them walk in. I'm not going anywhere near the fucking schools. But anyway, unless it's parents' evening and I'll have to go in, but you know, whatever. So, what does an average week look like? So for me, when I was doing the machinima and getting my YouTube channel started, I worked 6 days a week. This was for about the first 2 years of the business. I did 6 days a week. 5 of those were spent on videos and 1 of those was spent teaching. So even though it doesn't seem like very much teaching, it was a very full day And because I taught privately, I had to travel to people's houses, so I would teach like 5 or 6 students in a day. But that meant I was all over London in one very intense day. So even because it was private, it made a lot more money than just like a 9-to-5 job. But it was a lot more intense because I didn't work at a school. I had to like manage all my own resources and buy all of the books and go to the houses, sort out all the money, do all the invoicing, do all the taxes relating to it, get an accountant. So it was all a lot of work, even though it was only 1 day a week. And then for the rest of the week, 5 days a week, I would work on my machinima videos, and I would work from about 8 till 6 every single day, just because breaking through that wall of having like getting from 0 subscribers to getting to like 50 to 100,000, it just was an absolute uphill battle for years. It was absolutely mental. It really was a lot of work, but I'm very happy that I've gotten through that now. And now it's just 5 days a week, 9 to 5, I spend editing videos, because that's a normal, healthy amount of work, and my mental health is much better. I was very stressed and unhappy when I was doing the 6 days a week, which is no good. So now I just do 5 days a week, 9 to 5, and the way I break down my videos is I have finally got into a bit of a schedule with this new series where I'll just take 1 day and I'll play VR games all day. From like, as soon as I wake up till 6 in the evening, I'll just play VR games. And because I'm only reviewing 3 a video and I'm just sort of skimming them and talking about them generally, I can just play each game for 2 hours or so. Jot down anything that I think is funny while I play them over the course of that day, and then the next day turn that all into a script. And then that's 2 days to have the script done, which is way better. Like to review Elite Dangerous, that was 4 days of non-stop playing, because it was such an intense game and I had to write a whole script on it. Same with Budget Cuts. It took me 3 days to play the whole game through, and then a day to write the script. Whereas with the new series, because it's not really a review, I'm not really telling you whether or not to buy it or what I really think of it. It's just a load of jokes. So I basically just play the game till I think I have enough jokes, and then I stop. So do not use my videos to decide whether or not to play them. You should buy Jet Island, obviously, because I knew within a couple of hours, I was like, this is the best game I've ever fucking played. But beyond that, that's all I need to do. Then the next day I do the voice acting. And so that's what's really good about that. From start to finish, at the moment, it takes me 3 days to do game, script, voice acting. Problem is I got other things involved, like I have to record the Let's Plays that I'm doing. I do stuff like this. I manage the Patreon and the Twitter. I've got marketing to do. I'm trying to set up like a t-shirts line. I'm producing a new song for Fallout 76 and all this sort of stuff. Like there's all these other things going on in the background. I'm learning how to use camera work and learning new things on editing. So even though it's only 3 days to get to that point, there's still a lot of other stuff going on. And then I've set myself a time limit of a week to edit a video from start to finish, which is fucking so unlike before. Before it was 3 weeks was dedicated to editing. Because I just edited to shit. Like the Skyrim video and the Budget Cuts video, there is so much editing going on there. But now for the Steam videos, I'm like, I can edit a bit less because I'm going to focus more on the recording stuff. So now I just edit for 1 week. Give myself 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, get all the editing done. Put all the video clips over it. And that also means on the 4th day, I play the games for a whole day again with the script and collect all the footage I need for editing, all the gameplay. I used to spread that out in between editing. I used to edit a bit, get a bit more footage, edit a bit, get a bit more footage, but that is a fucking terrible way to do it because VR is exhausting. You got to stand up, jump around the room. After you've gathered a couple of hours, you want to go to bed. So then sitting down and doing some editing is a bad idea. So I do it all in 1 day. So I'm just standing up all day. So by the end of the day, I'm fucking exhausted, but I got it all. And that's a really good way to manage my time. Then I spend the next week editing it in. So that's 2 weeks of work, getting to the point where the video is done and has all the footage edited in. Then I need to record the live action footage. And because I do so much of it now, that's 2 days of work. I try to get it done in 1, but it's just a little bit too much because I don't have a cameraman at the minute. I'm trying to find someone I can employ, get my first fucking employee, but it's very difficult to find someone that is free just, you know, during the days, Monday to Friday, you know, it's not a very easy thing to do. I get my girlfriend to do it, but she's quite busy. I want my neighbor to help me, but he's quite busy because they're both musicians. They're free, but they can't really help. I then spend 2 days editing in the live action footage into the final project. And then that's it really. So that's about 3 weeks of work. And that's if I work non-stop all day, every single day for that 3 weeks, which is why it takes sometimes a month, sometimes 5 weeks to make a video so that I can get other things done. Managing the video. God, I'm talking a lot, I'm really sorry. And that's it. That's how a video is made. Maybe one day I'll do a video explaining this in detail. But that's it really. It seems like quite a lot of, it's a lot of different things, which is what makes it difficult. Every day I'm doing something different, so I have to keep resetting up setups. Like one day it's on the computer, one day it's in my bedroom, which I have to like soundproof, and then I'm recording in the living room, so I have to set up all the lighting and the soundproofing there. So it's a lot of different things to set up. Anyway, fuck me, I've been talking for almost half an hour. My God, I'm boring. So one day, Chris Talbot asks, where do you get your lines/jokes from? Does stuff just occur to you as you're playing and you jot it down? So yes, I do that. Or do you record some gameplay footage and watch it back while coming up amusing shit to say over the top? I used to do both. I used to play the games and write down stuff as I play. That's what I do now, and that's all I really do. I used to then watch the gameplay footage while editing and then think of new jokes and add them. But I'm trying to avoid that because then you have to write a new script. You have to because obviously it's like, oh, there's a new joke there and there's a new joke there. So you have to go back and write and, update the script, do the voice acting again to add new voice acting. Because it was more of a modular process. I would come up with new jokes every day as I was editing, and then at the end do a whole new day of voice acting and editing that in. So the videos would end up a lot funnier. It was also because I used to do that because I used to not be very good at writing jokes, so I'd have to keep rewriting them and re-recording them. Now I've gotten a bit better. I'm trying to avoid, or at least I think I've gotten a bit better. I'm trying to avoid going back and redoing scripts. I still do, while I'm editing the audio, I'll find mistakes and things I want to change, but only very minor things. Like the Skyrim video, that was a modular process, and like half the jokes in that I re-recorded several times to get them right. But now I've gotten a bit more the hang of writing jokes, and so while I play the games, that's where I get all my jokes. I write down everything that occurs to me. Every time anything silly happens, I write it down. And my rule is, if I have an idea, it makes it into the video. That is my #1 golden rule. Or at least I try and put it in the video. If it turns out not to be funny, I won't use it. But if I think of something and I think, yeah, that would be funny, it goes in. There's no restrictions to it, which is why I needed the Patreon, because it costs quite a lot of money buying all the shit that I'm like, I want to be wearing a Zelda hat. Well, that's £20. I want to be wearing a plastic brain. Well, that's £30. I'm not complaining. This is what I want to do. It's just that technique where you never ever say no means that you have to be ready to buy everything you need. It also means that's why the videos are quite crazy, I think. They're all over the place because I just don't, every idea I don't think, oh, that would be a bit difficult to do. It's like, no, it's going in. And that way it keeps the pace very fast. I just, even like a passing glimpse of an idea, I'm like, what was that? Write it down, get it down, let's do it. And if I get to the point where I'm doing it, I'm like, that's not that funny, then it gets scrapped. Other than that, it's going in. that's basically the idea. It was like what was the samurai game I reviewed in the first game I did in the first Steam VR video. Like I only we're in the menu for the first 10 minutes, like for the first 5 minutes of the game. For the first 5 minutes of the video, we don't even start the game. We're just in the menus, and that was I just started the game and all those jokes came to me at once. I was like, my hands aren't the right length. I can't, I have to insert my weapons to select things. It's all very natural. The game can give you a lot of ideas, and as long as you write them all down, you can just roll with it. Because I talked so much about YouTube, I'm going to answer one more question from Mandan TV, who asks, Oh, also, I'm going to probably get guests in here and doing this with me, so I'm not just talking to myself. I'll get someone to do a back and forth with. Do you ever plan on hiring an editor, or at least someone who does VFX, video effects, that's what that probably is, for your skits? And could it be me? Oh, it's very kind of you, Mandan TV. Sorry, I've got a bit of indigestion. So, it depends if you live in the UK. The reason I got this job was to become an editor. I suppose you could call this a job. The reason I started my YouTube channel was because I wanted to be an editor. Everything else is just a consequence of that. It was like, right, I want to edit stuff. Well, footage is copyrighted, so you're gonna have to make your own. Okay, so let's make some videos. And now I've gotten to the stage where I write, I direct, I voice act, and I act. And those have taken, I spend more time doing that as a total than I do editing. Whereas that's the bit I like, the editing. The rest of it is not natural at all for me. It's a lot of very difficult work. So I don't really want an editor. I would more, this is what I was saying before, I would like a cameraman. But other than that, an editor would be the only person I'd be willing to replace a job that I do with someone else. But then that would remove the whole purpose of making videos, because that's the bit I enjoy. That's the bit where all the fun is. You know, you're sitting with a pint of coffee, laughing your ass off at a stupid edit that you're doing. That's the fun bit. The voice acting is really hard work, so is the writing and the acting. So, I don't know. It'd be really sad if I had to get an editor to help speed up the production, because there'd be no point in making the videos. So I don't know, it's very, very, very difficult. As for video effects, my video effects are fucking awful. I've been watching a lot of Captain Disillusion recently, and I just want to at least learn a little bit of After Effects, because there are things that I want to do that take me so long to do in Adobe Premiere without any video effects programs. You know, I do it all manually with GIFs, and I edit the videos frame by frame to make animation rather than just using a program that would do it for me. But I'm very stubborn. Nothing wrong with that. Being stubborn got me where I was, well, got me where my channel is now, just by being incredibly stubborn and refusing to make things easy for myself. So there we go. I'll leave it at that. We've done our half an hour. I hope you all enjoyed this thing. I'm sorry I spoke so much about fucking YouTube. I'm hoping in the next couple of episodes I'll be able to get Many a True Nerd and Dan Nerd Cubed and my fiance and all these other people on board. Most of the episodes I think will just be me, just for convenience sake. You know, it'll be quite hard to get different people, but I will try. I'm going to start talking to people and seeing if anyone wants to come on this. It's difficult to convince them because it's only a Patreon podcast, so not many people see it, so it has less of an incentive for them, because obviously they don't get heard by many people. But we'll just see what happens. And that's it. Updates. I'm trying to, as I said, get some t-shirts produced with like my cat on the front, me swearing at the sun, maybe a cheesecake with Skyrim sticking out. I'm going to work on that, and I'm also working on a song which I'm going to produce, like with instruments and a singer, and it's to do with Fallout 76. It's going to be in my video, so that's another thing that's coming up, which is also being entirely paid for by patrons because it's quite expensive doing that sort of thing. So thank you very much. The production level of my videos is entirely thanks to the people who donate, because I wouldn't be able to afford it otherwise. It really, really helps things, so thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Tell me to ramble less, tell me to talk about other things more. I'd be very appreciative. Thank you!